All right, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something called the distributive property. So this is a definition that you probably want to write down with this example, and then we're going to practice this idea. So the distributive property is basically means to multiply or to expand, actually. The word here, you'll see the word expand down here in the questions. Okay, so expand, distributive property means to multiply. We're going to multiply a monomial, so remember a polynomial with one term, by some other polynomial in usually always in brackets. Okay, and what we do is we multiply the term in front of the brackets with the terms inside the brackets. Okay, so in terms of the blanks here for the definition, we multiply the term in front of the brackets, the monomial, with the terms inside the brackets. Okay, and basically this is what I usually do when we're writing this down. Okay, it looks like this. We're going to take this 8 and we're going to multiply it by the x squared. It's going to get multiplied by the 2x. It's going to get multiplied by the negative 3. Okay, so 8 times x squared is 8x squared. 8 times 2x is 16x. And then 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. Okay, and that's the idea that we're going to practice today. You always take the monomial in front and multiply it by the terms in the brackets to, again, get rid of the brackets. Okay, so let's try some of these. Here we go. We're going to take this 2. We're going to multiply it by the 3x. We're going to multiply it by the negative 3y. And I do encourage you to write down those arrows. I find that they're very helpful. And then I use my fingers to remind myself of the things that I'm going to multiply. Okay, so this first one, I'm going to multiply the 2 by the 3x, which will give me 6x. And then I'm going to multiply the 2 by the negative 3y, which will give me negative 6y. Now, just a reminder, there's no simplifying we can do here because, again, there are no like terms, right? One term's an x, one term's a y, so we can't simplify this further. Okay, let's try another one here. Okay, so here we're going to take this negative 3 and we're going to multiply it by the x squared. Okay, and that will give us negative 3x squared. The next thing we're going to multiply is we're going to multiply the negative 3 times the 2x. Okay, and that will give us negative 6x. And the last thing that we're going to multiply is negative 3 times negative 3. On the side, it would look like this. Negative 3 times negative 3. And of course, that equals positive 9. Okay, so all answers look like this. All answers have one line. There are people out there that will do this little multiplication. I would encourage you to always do it at the side of your page like this, okay? Not to do it within the question, because as questions become more complicated, it does sort of mess things up and people get very confused when they do it that way. Okay, so those are our first two examples. Let's try another one. Okay, notice here we have a couple brackets, so things are a little different. So think to yourself for a minute, where would you put these arrows? If you were going to draw the arrows, where do you think you would draw the arrows? Okay, so the 2 is going to go to the polynomial after it in brackets. It's going to get distributed to the x, and the negative 6 only to the bracket after it, right? And then we have a positive 5. Note how I said that. It's a positive 5 that's going to get distributed to a 2x and to a 3. So we can do multiple distributive properties all in one question. So let's go ahead and let's do that simplifying. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. Positive 5 times 2x is positive 10x. And positive 5 times positive 3 is positive 15. Okay, hopefully that part makes sense to you. Now, take a look. Notice now that we do have like terms in this one, so we can actually simplify a little bit further. And this is the idea we'll expand lots on over the next couple days, but here's just a few brief ones to help us out. So now notice we have a 2x and a 10x. Those are like terms as we did yesterday. And then we have a negative 12 plus a 15. So let's reorganize that using our skills from yesterday. We're going to put the x terms together. Then we have a negative 12 plus 15. We're putting the constant terms together. And now let's actually add them, right? So 2x plus 10x gives us 12x. And then careful here, negative 12 plus 15, use your calculator if you need, is positive 3. Okay, so now we've actually collected the like terms as well. Okay, you need to try the next one. So pause the video, write it down, and then come back and check and see how you did. Okay, here's our arrows. Then this one's a little bit harder. We have a negative 3 times a negative 6. Okay, let's go ahead and distribute. First term is 8x. Then we have a 4 times a negative 5. We have a negative 20. Okay, note the negatives in this one make it a little bit harder. In our next bracket, we have a negative 3 times an x, gives me negative 3x. And then that last term, we have a negative 3 times a negative 6, gives me a positive 18. Okay, let's put the like terms beside each other. We have these terms. We have negative 20 and plus 18. So here we're going to have 8x minus 3x. Then we're going to have negative 20 plus 18. And let's go and evaluate that. Simplify that. Both words mean the same thing. 8 apples minus 3 apples gives us 5 apples, for instance. Then we have, always being careful with negatives, negative 20 plus 18 gives us negative 2. Okay, be ready. We're going to practice this idea in class tomorrow. I'll see you then.